something to say.
Hello everybody and welcome to Project Shadow 556 Fandom. Good God, what is it good for? Hopefully not absolutely nothing, but that's what we're going to be talking about today. Hi, I'm Eric. I am, for those of you who don't know me, a writer, and you can find information about me and all my work over at projectshadow.com. Today I wanted to talk about fandom. I've been doing these podcasts rather intermittently for a while now, and I really want to get back into doing the podcast daily. I miss doing the podcast daily, and I've said that several times, but it's mainly because I have not had this conversation with you guys. And I think it's a conversation that needs to be had. It's a conversation that we need to really look each other in the eye and figure out what we're going to do. For those of you who have followed me in my career for quite a while, you'll remember that this used to be a daily podcast. This actually started as a daily live podcast, which I really, really miss. And if anybody knows any good ways to bring back the live to the show, I would love to hear your suggestions about that, because I really liked doing the show with a live chat audience and everything, and we used to do it over at TalkShoe, but they're not really the best place for us to be doing it now. We had so many problems over there. We left a long time ago, even though the site is still up. I don't know if they've gotten any better or not. I have recorded a few shows using Google Hangouts, and I'm curious about maybe doing that for the live show, but that's a whole side issue. If you wonder where Brian is working at our restaurant today, and for most of the shows, for those of you who keep asking, is Brian coming back? Hopefully. We'll work on scheduling some things, but that will be more of an event. Unfortunately, you're stuck with just me unless I can find another guest host, which I would love to do. That's something else we need to talk about. If you'd like to guest host an episode of this Project Shadow with me, let me know, because that would be awesome. I miss doing this with other people. So today, I guess, is the day I get to sit down and have the talk with everybody. What happened? Well, a lot happened. As you know, we used to put up a whole bunch of stuff over at dashpunk.com. All of those posts are still up, but they've been moved over to projectshadow.com. And we were one of the largest sci-fi podcast at the time, and it just stopped. And it stopped for a lot of reasons, and I think everybody that was involved with the project had their own reasons for stopping. Of course, and Marion Rich, if you're not familiar with her, she was a great guest contributor to the podcast. She has just powered on in a way that is amazing to me. You can find her at horroraddicts.net. If you're not familiar with her books, definitely check her out. She's one of the best writers in horror today. But she powered on while the rest of us kind of had a breakdown. But she focused more on manga and horror and less on the sci-fi fantasy stuff. And I think that's one of the things that made for a big difference between, in what we did. Okay. This is kind of hard to talk about because, it's in a way very personal, and in a lot of ways it's very media driven. And what ended up happening and why we pulled back as hard as we did is we frankly got tired of the game. And I don't think that it was a game worth playing. And I still don't think it's a game worth playing. And that's why I wanted to talk. What do I mean by the game? I guess I should start there. The game that we were playing was, of course, the one that you play anytime that you're setting up any online media company, We wanted page views for the blog. We wanted downloads for the podcast. We wanted people to be interacting with us on social media. And there are things that you do to accomplish that. There's very easy things to do to accomplish that. There are formulas for writing headlines that will cause people to click. You write the formula, people click your headline, boom, traffic to your blog. Reshares, retweets. Yeah, and we did that. And I'm really not proud of it. You know, I mean, there's nothing wrong with a BuzzFeed. If you want to be BuzzFeed, if you want to work at BuzzFeed, because I think they are the masters of this today. I mean, if you want to understand how this works, just go to BuzzFeed and take a look at the stuff that they do. I mean, they are masters of crafting that headline and doing things that are going to excite a certain percentage of the audience, anger a certain percentage of the audience, and no matter what, get people to share, talk about, promote, and view. And I hated it. And the reason I hated it is because I found myself starting to care more about getting people on the website so that we would have the page views that would make the advertisers happy, so that we could make the money to keep making the content, so that we could... I was working for the wrong person. That's really hard to admit. It's really hard to admit. But I was working for the wrong person. And if you're going to run a media company, that's who you have to work for. You have to work for the advertiser, that person that is paying your bills. And we did. We wrote clickbait headlines, and we wrote the top 10 lists that were stupid. And we found a whole bunch of shiny stuff that to this day, that stupid picture of the boba chicken and the Mord Sith knitting are two of the most popular posts that we have on the site. And they're meaningless. I mean, and I'm not saying I'm not going to keep doing stuff like that, because let's be honest, everybody likes an shiny post. I mean, that's what we started calling them to try to make ourselves feel better about them, right? Shiny, shiny. We even started a segment on the podcast, shiny, and now for the new shiny thing that we found. And to me, that's what Tumblr's good for, and that's what we're using the Project Shadow Tumblr for. That's projectshadow.tumblr.com. And, you know, I'm still posting stuff over there that's for the shiny, because, you know what, there's some people doing some amazing art, and some people doing some really good videos and what have you, and they're worth seeing, they're worth pointing at. And other than a little bit of entertainment, I don't know that they're adding anything to my life or to yours. And it may sound strange, because I don't think a lot of people spend time actually thinking about that. What are you getting out of the media that you're consuming, or the media that you're producing? But it's really important. Because for me, yeah, it's easy to write those headlines, you know, the 10 most overrated sci-fi movies of all time. And you know what? The clickbait works. I watch the videos on YouTube. I sometimes click through the BuzzFeed articles. I do. I fall for it just like everybody else. It's a basic psychological thing that ticks in your head and makes you click the button. That's why it works. And I'm not saying that I'm immune to it, but it doesn't add anything. All it does is either... Okay, this is why I started thinking about it. I watch a lot of my YouTube via my Apple TV. Now, the Apple TV YouTube app does not allow me to add things to my favorites, which annoys me. But that's a topic for another show. But its recommended section doesn't really care about what I've done on this on the YouTube site, or even in the other YouTube apps. It really pays attention to what I've liked and disliked on the Apple TV. And so I find myself now much more than I ever have, because it's the signal that they want: liking and disliking videos, thumbsing up and thumbsing down videos, to try to get it to provide me with with recommended videos that I would want to watch. People that are not part of my regular subscriptions. It's how I find new people to follow. I really like the feature. And yeah, some of those top 10 lists started showing up there. And, being who I am, 10 most overrated, 10 most underrated, fill in the blank. And I realized what these videos were doing to me. And it brought this whole thing up again. I found my instinct at the end of the video, whether to give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down, was not related at all to what I thought about the quality of the video, or whether I thought the video was good, bad, or even if I disagreed with them, whether or not they had given reasons that at least validated for me their perspective on these things. What was happening was I was having an initial knee-jerk reaction if the video agreed with my own bias, my own confirmation bias. I wanted to thumbs it up. If it didn't, I wanted to thumbs it down. This became really, really clear when I was watching a video on the top 10 sci-fi, superhero movies. And it left out the Tim Burton Batman movies, which for me are some of my favorites and I think some of the best superhero films I've ever seen. For anybody who knows me, Batman Returns is one of my favorite movies of all time. But I really am into that kind of dark gothic thing. But it did include the Christopher Nolan Batman films, which I know I'm a heretic, but I really did not like. I think I would have liked them if they were not Batman movies, and that's my problem with what he called reinvention, is he threw away everything that made Batman Batman. This is the Superman Lives movie series that they tried to make. Okay, he can't fly, he's not going to wear a red and blue suit, and no one's going to call him Superman. When you throw out that much about a character, you no longer have the character. And that's what I felt about the Nolan movies. I felt that they had thrown out so much of what made Batman Batman. Batman's superpower is that he is the world's greatest detective. He's smart. That's it. That's his superpower. He doesn't have super strength, he doesn't have super healing, he doesn't have any other superpower other than the fact that he is really smart. So we all show his smarts and give them to Morgan Freeman. So Morgan Freeman is now what makes Batman smart. Okay. So that really detracts from anything that could have made Batman special. We instill into him a rage that may or may not have been proportionate, but you match that with a certain level of stupidity, because Batman was also about stealth. So you get rid of the stealth. And you're left with what could have been good movies. And I have to say, the first 2/3 of The Dark Knight, not a bad movie. Not a bad movie. Everything up to the point where the Joker dies, and then there's this weird tacked-on Two-Face thing that honestly should have been the third film if they were going to cover it at all. It was extraneous, and it detracted from the experience of the movie. And though I own a copy of The Dark Knight, I stop when the Joker dies, because that's when the movie is over. That's when the only interesting parts of the movie happen. And, I've been attacked about this for a long time, but this movie was on the top. These movies were on the top 10 list, and I couldn't bring myself to go there. Man of Steel was on the list, and I'm going to watch the movie again because I feel like maybe I'm being too hard on it, but I do not like I didn't like it. It's a Deus Ex Machina plot. It's very poorly written. You know, the fact that the overarching plot of the story is, you know, Kal-El's father's a jerk. You know, he could have saved untold thousands of lives. He could have stopped everything bad that was happening. But he didn't. He just waited. Really? Really? Because, you know, Superman is not the hero of that movie. It's Jor-El. And Jor-El is just a jerk. But that's not the point. I saw that both of these had made their list, and I just wanted to thumbs it down because I disagreed. Now, that may sound like a valid reason, but it wasn't. They made arguments for what they felt made those movies good, and I can see how, if I did not have the preconceived notions that I had going into either of these films, maybe I would have come out with it with a similar opinion. I should have liked their video. And I did end up giving it a like because I thought about it before I hit the button. But so many people don't. And that, to me, is the problem. Media can cater to the best of us, or it can cater to the worst of us. And that is the key question. What are we trying to get out of it? What's the point? We can talk about it as just entertainment. You know, fandom is just entertainment. But if it's just entertainment that caters to the basest, lowest common denominator, is it really worth the time? You know, one of the reasons why I stopped writing a lot of the posts that I was writing was just because it was more valuable to me to play cards with my friends and actually have a halfway decent conversation than to try to gin up some weird outrage or, I don't know, controversial perspective that would get page views. And I'm not the only one that does this. There are courses on this. There are entire websites that teach this. And if you don't think that people are doing it, next time you go to your favorite movie review site or sci-fi site, pay really close attention to what they're talking about. The vast majority of them are just trying to trip one of those little wires inside your head to make you have an instant, oh yeah, I totally agree. Or, oh no, you're an idiot. What does that serve? What good is that? Yeah, everybody likes to be patted on the head and told, yeah, you're a genius, you agree with me, and I agree with you, and we all agree together. But what is the good of it? Not long ago, Andre from Black Nerd Comedy, and if you don't follow his channels on YouTube, you really, really should, because they're entertaining. And even though I don't like the Power Rangers, I religiously watch his Power Rangers reviews because they're so entertaining. But, I mean, even he recently went on an anti-rant where he admitted that he's tired of the game. Yeah, he could say things, but what's the point? And I think there are a lot of us that have gotten to this place of, yeah, what's the point? You know, I get some people saying that, you know, I like everything. That's not true. The reason most of the stuff that I talk about, or if you follow me on Goodreads, you see most of my reviews are 5s and 4s. Why? Because I try to make sure that I'm going to enjoy a book before I give a lot of time to it. And often, if I don't enjoy a book, I don't make myself finish it. And unless there's something egregious about it, I don't bother to rate it. Because it took up so little of my life. Why would I waste any more of my life to talk bad about it? You know, if you actually follow my Goodreads profile very carefully, you'll notice a lot of books get added and then to my currently reading shelf, and then they just vanish without, you know, any notice. No rating, no review. They just disappear. Because I would rather talk about the things that I love. I'd rather talk about the things that inspire me. I'd rather talk about the things that make me think. And that's what makes me so proud of what we did, with The Confessed and with a lot of the shows that we used to do. And we talked about the things that we loved, and we focused on the things that we loved. Granted, on the blog, we still played the game. I wrote articles just trying to get a rise out of people. And that was stupid. It's like the current picture of Jason Momoa as Aquaman. I sat there staring at it for a really long time, trying to force myself to have an opinion about a desaturated picture of an actor that I really, really like and that I've met, playing a character that I'm okay with in a franchise, actually in a sequel to a movie I didn't like. As if it's actually important for me to have an opinion about this one picture. And I sat there for a long time trying to figure out what to say. I might eventually just write a post about the thought process going on in my head about this. Because, well, I know I get accused of overanalyzing things. And I do. I'm not going to pretend that I don't. The fact that I felt that I had to make myself have an opinion, that's why I'm recording this podcast today. Now, I want to be doing the show again. I want to be doing the show regularly. I want to be doing it daily again. But I want it to mean something. I want it to be about things that not only I love, but that we love. Yeah, I'm going to talk about my books. I'm going to talk about my writing process. I'm also going to talk about the shows that I love. It kind of hurts me that I have yet to do a single episode about Agent Carter, and Agent Carter has been such a good show. I have not done a single episode about The Flash or Arrow or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I don't think I've done an episode about a Marvel movie since Captain America. The first one. Which I didn't like. But I do now. Because, like with everything in life, attitudes change. When I saw Winter Soldier, everything that I complained about in the first movie made sense to me all of a sudden. My biggest complaint, if you remember, if you go back a couple episodes and find when I talked about the original Captain America, my problem with the movie was they made Bucky Barnes into a bigger hero than Captain America. I didn't understand that. I'm not that familiar with Captain America. For everybody who knows me, I'm not the biggest Marvel fan. That's changing. But at the time, I didn't know anything. I had Winter Soldier. I had no idea. I was one of the probably the few people in the audience that actually had a moment of, oh my goodness, that's Sebastian Stan. Bucky's the Winter Soldier. I was one of the people that was surprised by that because I didn't know. Granted, I have Marvel Unlimited now, and so I'm reading a lot more comics, which is something that you'll probably be seeing me talk about more on the podcast and in the blog. But, yeah. Opinions change. Opinions aren't set in stone, and first impressions are not always the right impression. And I think it's important that we realize that, especially in fandom, especially for someone like me who wants to make media in fandom and try to contribute something to the discussion. So, I want you guys to contact me. Send me I'm Eric at dashpunk.com. It's my email address. Send me an email. Let me know what you think. Contact me on Facebook, Twitter. Find all the links at projectshadow.com. But let me know. What is it that you want? Are you as tired as I am? Are you as fed up as I am at what this quote-unquote coverage of media, of the media is, because I don't care about the horse race. I don't care what movie made a whole bunch of money and what movie didn't. I don't care that John Carter was a flop. I loved the books and I really loved the movie. I thought the movie was a very good adaptation of the book. And yeah, I loved Maleficent. There's been so much that I've loved that I haven't taken the time to talk about, and that's what I want this to be about. So here's what I'm going to be doing going forward. I wanted to kind of just have this confessional today to explain to you what's been going on and what's been going on in my head, because this has really been a challenge. And I wanted to start our relationship again from a point of honesty. So now I've told you my sins. Let me tell you my penance. What I'm planning on doing is actually recording this podcast daily again, trying to get back into the habit of that. I'm not going to promise an episode every day, just because if there is nothing to say, I think silence is better than prattle. So, if I honestly, truly have nothing to say, I won't record an episode. It won't happen. Now, I may fill that silence with, if you guys do take advantage of the Ask Me Anything buttons and whatnot to ask questions, maybe we'll do a Q&A episode or something. But that means I have something to say. I am going to start doing some recaps, because I think that that's important. Like I said, there's a lot of shows that I have never talked about on the podcast that I would love to. I will be talking about new episodes as they come out, because I really enjoyed that when we were doing that with all of the shows that we used to do that with, none of which are on air anymore. Remember Legend of the Seeker? Yeah, we had a lot of fun with that. Of Gods and, Kings was the name of the show. We did a podcast of Gods and Kings. Yeah. We did The Dollhouse. Yeah, Dollhouse was a great show, not on TV anymore. And instead of spinning them off like we had in the past, we're just going to make it part of this. They'll be a part of the discussion. I'll give spoiler alerts, and we'll just talk about them. So after you watch an episode, head over to whatever your favorite social media platform is and leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. Now, one other thing that I really want to push hard on that, I have set up a known site. If you go to projectshadowagenda.com, projectshadowagenda.com. And what this is, if you're not familiar with Known is a new social network platform that lets you control your social media. I'm really excited about this. And so what it is it is currently set to private, so it's only me. I'm going to try to remember on the appropriate days to put a post up asking, so what'd you guys think about blah, 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 whatever the show is. But, start leaving comments there. That's a great place to get in touch with me. And it's a great place to follow everything that I do, because it's going to have everything that all of my social media presence is there. Everything that I share, pictures, personal pictures, personal anecdotes, what's going on with me, what I'm watching, what I'm doing, it's all going to be there in one place. You can scroll through, you can leave comments. I really want to turn this into a community site. I had originally, when I was testing it, opened it up to registration, and it was flooded with spammers before I could say spam. So I closed registration. I will be figuring out some way to add people to it. So if you're interested in becoming a contributor over there, let me know, and we will talk, because I think I'm going to limit that to some kind of invite only until they work out a way of dealing with spammer accounts in a way that I'm comfortable with. But I would love that. But anybody can comment. Public commenting is turned on, and it's a great way to try to set up a community site. And hopefully, like I said, we'll get everything figured out, and I will turn registration back on. What's really powerful about Known is it's a post once, go everywhere place. So like I said, this is me. If you want to follow me on social media, if you want to know what I'm up to, what's going on, go to my Known page. No, it's at projectshadowagenda.com, because I'm posting there, and then it's reposting out to Facebook and Twitter and everywhere else that you see me. Now, that's not true of Tumblr. My Tumblr account is its own thing. So, if you really want to know the two biggest places that you should, if you want to see new content, Tumblr, I post original stuff there that, that's where I do a lot of my ooh shinies. There, I love really awesome pictures and fan art and whatnot. You'll see a lot of Final Fantasy stuff and a lot of kaiju stuff, because that's like my heart. I love that stuff. So you see a lot of that, plus a lot of other things. So definitely check out projectshadow.tumblr.com. And that's also set up to be a group blog. And I am more than willing and to find some extra contributors to that. But I really want to make this about us. I want to bring the community back to fandom. I've been saying this for years, that I feel that the one thing that is lost is the sense of community. I find it when I go to the conventions, and I have my friends from the conventions, and you know who you are, and I'm so thankful for you. You guys have no idea. You guys help me keep my sanity, what little of it I have left. But, I want to bring community back. And so these are some of the things that I'm trying to bring that community back. I'm also going to be doing some YouTube videos. I'm going to try to commit to do a YouTube video every week, but that's not easy for me. So hopefully I will be able to do that. A lot of people have asked me to do YouTube videos, though the actual views on my YouTube channel don't prove that a lot of people wanted me to do this, but I think it's more that they think it's a smart thing for me to do. I don't know. But I'm going to be trying to do it, and do it more often. So I'm going to try to do at least one video a week. I don't know what day yet, but because until I figure out exactly how to use that for what this new thing, whatever this new thing is, talking about what you love, actually being a fan of things rather than somebody that just tries to stir up controversy. Yeah, that's the ticket. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Not every episode if this is your first episode of Project Shadow, not every episode is like this, though every episode is me just talking for a long time about different things, and they will be about different things. Oh, and I will be using Known for show notes from now on. So you'll actually see I'll be tagging the episode number for things that we talk about over there, so that will all be over there as well. I'm really excited about the Known site. I'm really glad to finally be in a place where I feel like I can come back and talk to you guys again. And I think we have a good way forward. We're going to be talking about Arrow, The Flash, Agent Carter, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Those are going to be some of the main shows that I'm going to be covering. Probably will talk about Game of Thrones when that starts back up, just because, love me some Game of Thrones. But I would also like to go back and talk about shows that we haven't talked about. I am almost finished with a complete rewatch of Star Trek The Next Generation, because I love that show. And I'm actually thinking about starting up a rewatch of Farscape, because I love and I miss that show too. So I might actually start sprinkling in kind of retro rewatch things. If you want to help me pick a series of the next series that I should do that with, I would love to talk about that too. You can either talk in the comments on this episode over at projectshadow.com or on any of the social media sites, because I do see that. And let me know what, old shows that you would like me to talk about. One that I'm really interested in, I'm thinking of doing a bunch of episodes on Forever Night later this year. It's one of my favorite vampire TV shows of all time, and I am amazed at how many people don't know anything about it. So I'm looking at, more towards Halloween, making that a feature, kind of going through and hitting some of the best episodes of that show and doing something about that. But that's what I'm talking about. Let's talk about what we love. Share what we love. Because life is too short to do anything else. Well, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed. I know I did. I'm so excited to be doing this again. I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.